Brandon Beane, the general manager of the Bills, met with reporters yesterday to talk about specifically the loss to the Bengals at home in the divisional round and what the Bills need to do moving forward to try to take the next step. Have a listen to some of what Brandon Beane had to say.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't win at all, Adam, you're going to look, and you got to look right at yourself first. And so I will definitely look at the makeup. In this case, you were talking about offense. And what did we do well? Statistically, we did a lot of good things this year. But, yes, the other day, 10 points is not going to win many playoff games, most likely. We know we got to score more than that. And, our offensive players, coaches, all of us know that, and so we'll look at it all. Again, we'll start with myself, but there's nothing I can sit here and say. We just, I can't remember a game, and you guys may know it, where, we kick off down 7-0, 3 and out, down 14-0, 3 and out, in a long time since I've been here when our offense is rolling. At least the last 3 years, I can't remember us doing that. And so it just, for whatever reason, we didn't get it done the other day. I think you can look at all sides. You get down 14-0 to a good program, you kind of get out of your game plan a little bit. You're going more hurry up, less under center, less, you're just doing a lot of things to try and play catch up. And again, their offense was doing a nice job on our defense. Up front, that game in particular up front, we didn't get it done on either side of the ball. And again, that starts with me.
So Brandon Beane taking the blame for what happened. It's easy to do if you believe you're very secure in your position. You're otherwise writing your own pink slip if you're not secure in your position, because if ownership listened to what Brandon Beane had to say, their reaction may be, okay, you're right. It is your fault. Bye-bye. We're going to hire a new general manager. So I don't say that facetiously. I mean, when you have a team, and we've talked about this, when you keep knocking on the door, at some point, ownership is going to decide that we have the wrong person knocking. We need someone else to do the knocking. We aren't able to kick it in, and we've got this special talent in Josh Allen. What are we going to do to get with Josh Allen where we think we need to be? And the offense, 10 points, clearly not good enough. We never would have dreamed the Bills would be held to 10 points by anyone, even the 85 Bears, we'd think wouldn't hold Josh Allen and the Bills to only 10 points over 60 minutes. And, Chris, I wonder whether there's a disconnect between front office and coaching staff. And the one guy that I point to in that regard is Nyheim Hines. They traded Zach Moss for him. They had to get him. I thought they'd use him. He had 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown in the first game after the Damar Hamlin cardiac arrest. I just checked the game book from the divisional round. 4 offensive snaps for Nyheim Hines. A special talent. We talked about it when it happened, going into the playoffs. Hey, look at this talent you've got. Use this guy. Get this guy out there. Devise plays. Use him as a weapon to counter and balance Stephon Diggs. 4 snaps Nyheim Hines had in the divisional round game. 4.
Well, the first thing is, again, I wouldn't condone doing anything rash. Or if I was talking to ownership, I'd be like, wait, you guys are doing a lot of good things here. It's what, 4 playoff appearances in a row. We've done more than knock on the door. They've cracked the door open a little bit. They got to the AFC Championship game. Yes, they lost a magical, unbelievable TV moment type game to Mahomes in Kansas City, This year, again, only losing 4 games, 13-4 on the year, right? Am I right? 14-4 maybe on the year with the one game, not counting against the Cincinnati Bengals. So there's a ton of positives. And I would definitely say if that was the conversation to, I would preach patience. There's too many good things about the organization. They've been one of the most relevant at the top of the leaderboard to start seasons and to end seasons every year. Yeah, they haven't won a Super Bowl. It's disappointing. We also know that the AFC is damn good, and it ain't that easy to go through there right now with some of the quarterbacks, and especially the guy wearing red and got a big 1-5 on his chest. We're talking about a guy that's an all-time great already in Mahomes. So that's not easy to overcome too. But to your point, Mike, and things there, like Ahmed Fareed and I did an exercise before the year about top rosters in football. And there was a lot of shock on our podcast, and a lot of shock when like Buffalo wasn't in our top 5. And, again, that doesn't mean you can't be a top 5 football team. Their coaching is really good on both sides. Josh Allen covers a lot of holes. But I do think that the talent on the team was a little overrated, and I think we've hit on that a lot during the year. Whether it's the offensive side of the ball and not having enough there to help Josh Allen, or on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of good players, and McDermott and Leslie Frazier are very creative. But as we saw Sunday, or we've seen in other playoff games, there's never a one guy that ever jumps out to where you go, they can't block that guy, or two guys like other good defenses have. And I think that's one part of their team they're really missing, and I think Brandon Beane is probably speaking to that a little bit, and they're going to realize that's got to get better in that department.
Right, but if you don't have a top 5 roster and you have Josh Allen, Josh Allen is the thumb on the scale to help you have a top 5 roster.
Sure.
What are you doing to put the pieces around him? And, hey, we said a year ago, boy, if the Bills had been the ones to trade for Von Miller and sign Odell Beckham Jr., and they may have won a championship.
Right.
So they signed Von Miller in free agency, and they were connected to Odell Beckham Jr. They were one of the finalists, and I think at the end of the day, Beckham wasn't interested in playing in 2022 or knew that his knee wasn't going to allow him to do anything, and he was just trying to parlay, okay, I'll be around for the playoffs, but this is more about having me for 23, 24, 25, and he's still going to be out there if he's healthy. So that's a guy they could consider. But I just feel like the efforts to improve the roster aren't. And that is the kind of thing when you have Josh Allen, when you have gone out and gotten a franchise quarterback, it creates an urgency.
Yeah, that's true.
And a mandate.
Right.
To take full advantage of that. To go all in while you can, not in a reckless F them picks way, but look at how the Bengals have kind of emerged from decades of slumber because they have Joe Burrow. They're like, oh God, we got a franchise quarterback now. We have to do things differently. We have a window that's open for us, but we can't just rely on our franchise quarterback to pull us through that window. And I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to set aside the fact that I respect and like Brandon Beane. I respect and like Sean McDermott from the fact that you've got a team that's got a franchise quarterback that doesn't have a good enough team around him. I mean, look, the Chiefs have had Patrick Mahomes longer than the Bills have had Josh Allen, and they've got a team around him. They've found a way to do it. They've got Mahomes on a major contract, and they're still putting the pieces in place and getting them on the field. There's a smoother connection, and maybe because Andy Reid's the guy who's got all the juice in Kansas City, that they're not bringing in guys that the coach may not use and the offensive coordinator may not use because the same guy who's putting together the offense and the team is the same guy that's essentially got final say on who gets on the team and who doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think that's something they need to take a step back and make sure coaching staff and front office are on the same page so that the guys they're getting are the guys they're using, and they're getting guys that are going to help them thrive, because right now there's a disconnect somewhere between who they're signing and how those guys are or aren't performing.
Yeah, well, they're maybe not as aggressive in free agency. That's the one thing you look at, right, as some of the other top teams that are out there. Again, we can look at back to the Kansas City Chiefs in that situation. Yeah, not only Mahomes and then Kelsey, who's an all-time great tight end, but They've gone out, Joe Tooney, big money, right? Orlando Brown, make a trade, big money. We're going to do that. They made moves for Frank Clark in the past, right? They brought in Justin Reed at safety this year as a good player. And then while infusing that with guys they've drafted and that young talent there. Buffalo has done all the young talent, scouting. They got a lot of great B+, B players, A- players, but I think it's some of those moves we're talking about. Von Miller, right, that was an eye-popper to us because we hadn't seen them do that a whole lot. We saw them do that with Diggs, right, 3 years before that. But, again, I think when you look at some of the other teams, there's multiple moves like that on their roster. And that's where, I think they're finding that, we're getting in these moments here, the final 8 teams, we all know coaching's important and the plays are important. But at times, like in these type of games, and you say this all the time, right, Mike? The NFL is so close, it comes down to 4 or 5 plays. They don't have a guy that can help make those 4 or 5 plays, right? I mean, we know, there's Jamar Chase in the middle of the field. He catches it. He makes somebody move. Zoom, rockets up his butt, and now he's up in the end zone. Makes a miraculous play, right? There's just not enough of that to go around. Or hey, we're Buffalo. We're sending a 3-man rush, and look, we're all over Joe Burrow. Oh, but wait, when Cincinnati sent a 3-man rush with Trey Hendrickson, that free agent signing they had that they spent a lot of money on, man, he was all over Josh Allen. So they need a few more of those guys, studs, the Nick Bosas, the guys we're talking about on a weekly basis who F plays up, disrupt, and make big plays in big moments. And to me, that's where I think we both harped a lot on the year that it's a lot on Josh Allen. It's too much there, and then it's a little too much on McDermott and Leslie Frazier to always come up with the perfect game plan, and that's where we're back into the conversation of needing a few more studs on both sides of the ball.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.